Majestic and formidable, the African buffalo is rightfully considered one of the symbols of wild Africa. Also known as the black or Cape buffalo, this giant lat. Syncerus cafer reigns over the savannas and forests south of the Sahara. Its evolutionary path is so unique that scientists have classified it into a separate genus Syncerus, with a single species. Interestingly, it is the only representative of the bovine subfamily, true cattle, that has managed to colonize the African continent. When it comes to size, this bovine is awe-inspiring. It rightfully ranks among the largest modern bovines. Adult males of the savanna subspecies are veritable mountains of muscle and bone. Their weight often reaches 700 to 900 kilograms, with a height at the withers of 1.6 to 1.8 meters. Ancient patriarchs weighing over a ton are also encountered. However, not all buffaloes are so colossal. Their forest counterparts are much more compact, and some island subspecies are downright miniature, serving as a striking example of adaptation to different living conditions. But the true strength of the African buffalo lies not only in its mass, but in the herd. These animals possess a complex social structure and phenomenal mutual aid, making them extremely dangerous adversaries. It is no coincidence they are part of the African Big Five, the most prestigious hunting trophies and the most challenging targets, hunting which is mortally dangerous. Despite their ferocious temper, buffalo populations are vulnerable today. Although they have survived better than many other large African animals, their future is under threat. The main enemies are poaching, loss of grazing lands due to human activity, and habitat fragmentation. The fragile balance of entire savanna ecosystems depends heavily on the health of herds of these powerful herbivores. The African buffalo is clad in stern, ascetic armor, sparse and coarse hair of black or dark gray hue, through which the dark, seemingly armored skin is clearly visible. Over the years, this coat thins, and ancient patriarchs may develop characteristic whitish circles around their perceptive eyes, akin to graying eyebrows. Every feature of its build reveals the perfect heavyweight. Although it is often outsized at the withers by its Indian relative, the African buffalo is more massive and densely built. Its silhouette is the embodiment of brute force. A heavy, low-set head rests below the line of the mighty back, and the forequarters, bearing the main mass, are broader and more powerful than the hindquarters. This load is dutifully carried by wide, saucer-like front hooves. Large, sensitive ears fringed with hair and a long tail with a striking brush at the end, used to swat away persistent insects, complete the portrait. As befits savanna giants, buffaloes exhibit pronounced sexual dimorphism. Females are not just more graceful and significantly smaller than the colossal males. Their horns are thinner and shorter, forming elegant crescents, and their coat color is often softer, with a noticeable reddish or brownish undertone. This difference makes the herd easily readable to an observer. At its center, one usually finds cows with calves, while mature bulls stand guard like a living shield along the perimeter. The horns of the African buffalo are not mere adornments, but formidable weapons and status symbols, shaped by evolution into a unique structure. Their main feature is the massive bases, which in adult bulls fuse on the forehead to form an impenetrable bony helmet, or boss. This solid shield is so strong it can deflect or even stop a rifle bullet. From this powerful foundation, the horns sweep outward, then curve downward, and finally sweep smoothly upward and inward, forming deadly points. The span between their tips in majestic old males often exceeds a meter, creating an imposing silhouette. However, this shield is a privilege of maturity. In young males, it fully forms only by 5 to 6 years of age. In females, the horns are more graceful and miniature, by 10 to 20%, and the bony boss is typically absent. Interestingly, in forest buffaloes living in dense thickets, horn development differs. They are significantly smaller, weaker, almost never fuse, and rarely grow longer than 40 centimeters. A buffalo's life unfolds in a world of scents and sounds, not images. Nature compensated for its extremely poor vision with exceptionally keen and sensitive olfaction, which serves as its primary guide to the surrounding world, along with acute hearing. These giants are by no means silent. Their vocal repertoire is rich and expressive. In calm situations, one might only hear soft grunts, snorts, or low bellows. But when in distress or wounded, a buffalo emits a sound remarkably similar to the mooing of a domestic cow. Scientists have identified dozens of different acoustic signals conveying a subtle range of emotions, from alarm and threat to summons. Particularly poignant is the thin, plaintive cry of a calf in danger, a signal that instantly mobilizes the entire herd for unconditional defense. An important addition to this language is rich nonverbal communication. The position of the head, a swish of the tail, or a threatening posture can tell herd members as much as a vocal call. Once, the African buffalo was the true sovereign of the Black Continent. Just a century and a half ago, it was the most common animal south of the Sahara, and scientists estimate it accounted for up to 35% of the biomass of all large African ungulates, an unimaginable figure speaking to its ecological dominance. Today, its empire has shrunk. The buffalo has survived in significant numbers far from everywhere. Its last true strongholds are the least human-developed expanses of eastern and southern Africa, where the thunder of thousand-strong herds can still be heard today. This species is an amazing generalist. It has mastered an incredibly wide range of biotopes, from damp, impenetrable tropical forests and floodplain thickets to treeless open savannas and mountain slopes, where it sometimes climbs to altitudes of up to 3,000 meters. However, its ubiquity has one unbreakable law, an inseparable bond with water. The buffalo does not live far from permanent water bodies and avoids arid regions receiving less than 250 millimeters of rainfall per year. The most numerous and thriving populations inhabit precisely the humid savannas, where there is year-round access to water, lush grasses, and shrubs. Today, the buffalo's natural range is fragmented and largely confined to a network of nature reserves, national parks, and other protected areas. It is here, under the protection of the law, that it can still lead a truly free life and form grand herds numbering in the hundreds. Outside these islands, its herds are rarely numerous, and its very existence depends on the tolerance of local populations and the preservation of key ecological corridors connecting watering holes and pastures. The African buffalo's lifestyle indeed exhibits traits that connect it to its Indian cousin. It is a creature of strict routine. Its main activity occurs during the cool night and morning hours. From evening until dawn, herds graze in open spaces. During the day, the giants prefer to rest, sheltering from the scorching sun in the shade of acacias or, more characteristically, lying in cool, swampy mud or dense reed beds, as the 19th century British traveler F.C. Selous aptly noted. Although the African buffalo is not as utterly dependent on water as the Indian buffalo, which often spends half the day in it, a daily visit to a watering hole is an inviolable rule. An adult bull drinks 30 to 40 liters at a time, especially when feeding on the dry grasses of the savanna. This need strictly defines the boundaries of its living space. Observations show that buffalo rarely venture more than 4 kilometers from a permanent water source. Buffalo are the embodiment of vigilance, especially females with calves, who are almost never completely relaxed. The alarm signal is a characteristic pose with the head held high and horns thrown back onto the shoulders. At that moment, the slightest rustle is enough to send the entire herd into flight. Disturbed buffalo usually move with a heavy, seemingly unhurried gallop, but are capable of reaching a phenomenal speed for their mass during a furious charge or a panicked flight, reportedly up to 57 kilometers per hour, 35 miles per hour. The famous buffalo hide is a fortress with weak spots. Its thickness on the neck and shoulders can reach 2 centimeters, forming natural armor. However, it is often, especially in old individuals, disfigured by nodules and blisters from the larvae of subcutaneous botflies. Blood-sucking insects, and particularly ticks, are partially kept at bay by faithful symbionts, oxpeckers or buffalo birds. Dozens of these feathered cleaners may work on a single back, pecking out parasites. But in inaccessible places, the belly, the groin, ticks accumulate by the dozens. To escape from them, buffalo take their famous mud baths. The dried mud forms an additional protective crust, but even it is not a panacea. Even the mighty horns become a target. Some flies lay eggs in their cracks, and the hatched larvae destroy the horn substance from within. Perhaps it is this that causes the buffalo's obsessive urge to rub their horns against trees. It is not only a way of marking territory, but also an attempt to rid themselves of these persistent destroyers. The African buffalo is an animal with a highly developed social instinct. Most often, they form groups of 20 to 30 individuals, which during the dry season, concentrating around water sources, can merge into powerful herds numbering hundreds of animals. However, the herd does not have a strictly defended territory. Its life is defined by nomadic routes between pastures, watering holes, and resting places. The social life of buffaloes is diverse. Mixed herds are the most common, where adult bulls and cows with calves of various ages form a dynamic community. Adults make up slightly less than half of such a herd. Interestingly, this proportion can vary by region. For example, in the southern part of their range, the proportion of juveniles is typically higher. Beyond this, males form separate bachelor clubs. There are groups of young bulls aged 4 to 5, just beginning their independent lives, and more cohesive communities of old, mature males around 12 years and older. Within any group, especially male ones, a strict hierarchy reigns, often established and reinforced through ritualized yet powerful contests. In peaceful circumstances, grazing buffaloes may spread out over a considerable distance. But at the slightest sign of threat, the herd transforms instantly. The animals bunch up into a dense mass, often touching each other's sides, forming a living fortress. At the edges of this formation, the most experienced individuals take their positions, old bulls and vigilant cows acting as sentinels. In the face of a direct threat, the herd often forms a formidable defensive semicircle, where adult males and old females hold the outer line, while cows with calves remain safely protected at the center. A buffalo herd is a remarkably stable formation, capable of existing in one area for decades. According to some scientific estimates, the lifespan of such a social core can reach up to 36 years. Historically, when buffaloes dominated the savannas, herds of 1,000 or even several thousand animals were not uncommon. And today, in protected areas like Etosha National Park or the Okavango Delta, one can witness the resurgence of this might. Herds several hundred strong are a common sight. For instance, in the Kafue River Valley, Kenya, the average herd size is about 450 individuals, with observers recording groups ranging from 19 to an impressive 2,075 animals. As a typical member of the bovine subfamily, the African buffalo is an absolute vegetarian. Its daily intake is impressive. An adult consumes plant matter equivalent to about 2% of its body weight. However, contrary to its powerful appearance, the buffalo is a rather selective eater. It doesn't just graze on grass, it follows a strategic diet. Its dietary needs focus on tall grasses rich in coarse fiber. The buffalo shows conservatism, displaying a clear preference for just a few specific plant species that form the core of its diet year-round. It only switches to alternative foods in times of scarcity. Shrubbery makes up only about 5% of its menu, while lush riparian and aquatic plants serve as an important source of moisture and trace elements. Research confirms that it is precisely the combination of proximity to water and the presence of preferred grass species that is the key factor in buffalo's choice of territory. Their mass consumption of grass makes buffaloes crucial ecosystem engineers of the savanna. By trampling and mowing down tall grasses, they clear and plow the land, creating a mosaic of landscapes. This stimulates the growth of young, lush shoots, which in turn attract other herbivores, gazelles, zebras, antelopes. Thus, buffaloes unknowingly shape conditions for biodiversity. This dietary specialization has a downside. During dry periods when quality green fodder is scarce, buffaloes lose body mass faster and suffer more severely than many other African ungulates with more flexible diets. But where there is water and an abundance of their favored grasses, buffaloes thrive and can even break their nocturnal routine, feeding during daylight hours, displaying a calmness and satiety rare for such giants. True enemies capable of overpowering a healthy adult buffalo are few in nature. Its size and collective strength make it nearly invincible. However, young calves and weakened individuals become coveted prey for the most formidable predators. Lions pose the primary threat. Attacking as a pride, they often target cows or calves, inflicting significant losses on herds. As noted even by Soviet researchers, buffalo were a frequent item in the observed diets of lions. However, even lions rarely risk attacking a mature bull alone or with a small force. The price of failure is too high. Calves separated from the herd or sick animals may fall victim to leopards, African wild dogs, or spotted hyenas. At watering holes, Nile crocodiles pose a hidden danger, capable of seizing a buffalo while crossing a river. In defense, buffaloes demonstrate incredible solidarity and mutual aid. The herd doesn't just flee, it counterattacks. Numerous cases are known where buffaloes not only successfully repelled lion attacks but pursued them, trampling or goring them. Their sense of collectivism is so strong that they will attempt to save even a mortally wounded comrade. For instance, a Belgian zoologist described a case where two bulls, hearing the dying moans of a fellow buffalo, tried to lift him to his feet with their horns, and upon failing, furiously charged the hunter, nearly punishing him for the killing. Often, invisible enemies, diseases, and parasites prove more dangerous than predators. Helminthiasis, worm infestations, claim the lives of many calves. Blood-borne parasitic diseases transmitted by ticks are widespread. For example, almost all examined calves in South Africa were infected with the protozoan Theileria parva, the causative agent of theileriosis, a deadly disease. Combined with the constant stress from ectoparasites, ticks, spotflies, these factors create a hidden yet powerful pressure that limits population growth and ensures the survival of only the strongest and most resilient individuals. The African buffalo did not escape the tragic fate of many large African ungulates, which were mass exterminated during the colonial expansion of the 19th and first half of the 20th centuries. However, its population did not decline as catastrophically as, for example, that of elephants or rhinoceroses. Two factors played a role: the extreme danger of hunting this animal and the lack of commercially valuable trophies like tusks or horns. As a result, the buffalo survived in areas where other species were nearly wiped out. Far more devastating than guns were introduced diseases. Epidemics of rinderpest, introduced in the late 19th century with European livestock, decimated entire populations. The first recorded outbreaks among buffalo date back to 1890 and dealt a blow comparable to mass shooting. Today, although the African buffalo has disappeared from a significant portion of its historical range, it has generally maintained stable numbers. Its total population on the continent is estimated at roughly 1 million individuals. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, classifies its status as least concern, but conservation dependent. The backbone of the species' survival has become the network of protected areas. It is in national parks and reserves, such as the Serengeti and Ngorongoro in Tanzania, Kruger Park in South Africa, or the Luangwa River Valley in Zambia, that buffalo form numerous and viable herds, numbering in the hundreds. Outside reserve boundaries, the main danger for the buffalo is the rapid anthropogenic transformation of landscapes. Buffaloes are conservatives, utterly intolerant of cultivated landscapes and avoiding farmland. The plowing of land, expansion of pastures for livestock, and construction of roads and settlements fragment their habitat, cutting off access to water and traditional migration routes. Despite their formidable nature, buffalo can be found in many zoos worldwide, where they can successfully reproduce. However, keeping them comes with enormous difficulties. Even in captivity, these animals retain their explosive, unpredictable temperament and strict hierarchy. There are known cases where clashes between males in enclosures ended fatally, confirming once again that the spirit of the untamed savanna lives within them, wherever they may be. So, what is the African buffalo? It is the living embodiment of the savanna. Its strength lies in the herd, its armor is its character, and its law is mutual aid. It does not seek conflict, but it never runs from it. It reminds us that true power lies not in reckless aggression, but in unity, perseverance, and the readiness to defend one's home to the end. It is not merely one of the Big Five. It is the very spirit of Africa, harsh, majestic, and unconquered. Remember this as you reflect on its story. Thank you for being with us.